Hello my wonderful friends, it's Evelyn here and welcome back to this, my very own little creative corner of the internet. A big thank you to each and every single one of you here for all of your love and support. That said, my friends, please, if you haven't done so already, please go and subscribe to this, my very own little channel, because it really does mean so much to me. So this week, it's week 2 of my summer 2024 dressmaking extravaganza. And this week, it's time to get back to some pattern drafting. And yes, it's going to be vintage inspired. Of course, you already knew that, my wonderful friends. So if you haven't done so already, start by creating your very own bodice block to your own measurements. I'll pop a card above and a link in the description box too, so that you can do just that. But without further ado, grab yourself a smile, a nice cuppa or two, some pattern drafting supplies, and let's get creating a wonderful summer dress. After recently sorting through my self-drafted patterns, my friends, I came across one for a gathered bust dress that I just had to share with you. And here is that pattern that I found in my stash, and I'm going to recreate it today so that we can make a gorgeous, perfect for summer dress together. This gathered centre front bust design has shoulder straps and a full skirt. And for this dress, I'm going to use one of my favourite purchased skirt patterns from the Liz dress by Charm Patterns, which is a stunning full skirt gathered at the waistline. So without further ado, let's get drafting. Grab that bodice block, of which I have a little version here to show you how to create this design today. And there's a card in the description box to the tutorial so that you can create your own block, my friends. Starting with the bodice front, locate and mark your bust apex point. An easy way to do this? Draw lines through the centre of your darts. Where they intersect, yes, that's your apex point. Draw a line from this apex to the centre of your shoulder line like so. This will not only help guide our style lines, but it will also give us a point to locate our straps later. Make a mark 1/2 inch below the arm side at the side seam before it's time to draw in our style line. Curve a line up from that mark to the vertical strap line and then downwards to centre front. Next up, I'm going to close the bodice darts using this fullness to create the gathered style on the bodice, and making this bodice super quick and easy to construct too. Start by drawing a line from the apex to centre front as seen here, before cutting along the lower leg of the bust dart to centre front along this new line, creating a hinge that allows you to tape the dart closed, pivoting the fullness to the centre front of the bodice. Repeat the same process for the waist dart, cutting along one leg to the apex point before pivoting that fullness into the centre front too. And here is the finished bodice front pattern piece, which will be cut on the centre front fold up until the bottom edge of the added fullness, seen here represented by a little blue wiggle. On to the back piece, which is super quick and easy. Begin by making a mark 1/2 inch down from the arm side once more, before drawing in the back style line, curving a line from that mark at the side seam to the centre back of your bodice. Next up, close the waist dart, creating a super easy to sew one-piece back bodice, cutting down one leg of the darts to just before the style line, making a second cut to just before this point from the centre of the shoulder line, allowing you to tape that dart closed, revealing your finished back pattern and your entire bodice pattern for this gathered bust style. Remember my friends, these patterns do not include any seam allowances, so remember to either add this to your pattern pieces now or to your fabric as you cut it out. And here is my full-sized pattern all ready for me to get sewing. To create this dress, I've got the most gorgeous summery lemon coloured bengaline that has been in my fabric stash for a little while. I've cut 2 each of my bodice front and back pieces to be able to line the dress bodice. And pieces all cut out, it's sewing time. Starting by sewing some long gathering stitches at the centre front on the bodice front pieces, and with the weather being so unpredictable and ridiculously chilly for June, Loons and I have been grabbing every possible bit of sun we can and being outside together. Pulling on the bobbin threads of those stitches, the gathered style of the bodice is achieved, with Luna's kind assistance, of course. Next, it's time to join those bodice fronts and backs along the side seams, leaving the left side open for a zip later. And this dress is already looking great. I then created some simple straps with lengths of fabric. Bodice lining and outer layers placed right sides together with the newly created straps sandwiched in between. The upper edge of the bodice is then pinned and sewn together before understitching this neckline to make sure that the edge is clean and that the lining layer stays inside our dress. Skirt time, sewing the panels together and leaving the left side open for that zip. Running a long length straight stitch along the skirt waistline, it was then time to gather the skirt to fit the waist of my bodice before stitching it in place and installing an invisible zip. All that's then left is to hem my dress, and yes, you've guessed it my friends, it's reveal time. Well, my friends, I'm really glad that I sorted through those patterns because I love this new style and I hope that you do too. What a successful pattern drafting and sewing endeavour this week. But until next week, my friends, you take care. Bye.